And the Blues coming off a scintillating overtime win in Dallas. Tonight they take on the Ducks. Their first and only meeting this year in St. Louis.
Great.
As the Blues come in at 4-3-1. Tonight's starting goaltenders, Jake Allen's third start of the year. He started last Thursday and lost to Vancouver 4-1. And the rookie John Gibson, who hails from Pittsburgh, coming off a 38-save shutout the other night in Chicago. So it's Gibson against Allen. The Blues and Ducks hook up for the second time this season. And for Ken Hitchcock's club, it is Berglund at center between Yashkin and Jaden Schwartz. Pagliano, Silverberg, and Thompson for Anaheim. Blues hockey is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And the Blues dump it in.
I thought in the last game, John Kelly, Pagliano, and Kessler were dynamic together. Bruce Boudreau has broken them up in this game on the road.
And now the Ducks slide it down the ice. And we get an icing call against the Ducks.
Well, Bruce Boudreau is in his fourth season as the head coach of the Anaheim Ducks. He got 320 career wins. The former Jack Adams Award winner to go against the former Jack Adams Award winner, Ken Hitchcock, who's got 661 NHL wins with that unbelievably entertaining game in Dallas 2 nights ago.
And the Blues control the faceoff back for Bouwmeester. And the puck came to center ice and then played back in offside. One thing Boudreau said this morning, Darren, is that his club has allowed too many shots of late. We mentioned Chicago at 38 the other night, so he wants that number down in the 20s tonight.
Now, pretty easy to give up that many shots, though, to Chicago in Chicago. And when that happens, your goaltender has to bail you out. And Gibson gave him that and more. And Anderson did the same thing in the game in Anaheim against the Blues. I thought Anderson was outstanding in that game.
He stopped all 28 Blues shots in that 3-0 victory. Here is Carl Gunnarsson. Makes his home debut for the Blues tonight after playing about 12 minutes the other night in Dallas. And he's paired with Shattenkirk. And it goes to Gunnarsson, trying to move it. Now it comes in front. Silverberg there, and his shot blocked. And now Silverberg back on the goal. Shattenkirk gets it back. And that hit the referee. And a bad break for the Blues. And a shot is taken care of by Jake Allen.
Well, gives us a chance with that easy glove save by Jake Allen to bring home our Toyota keys to the game. We're early in this one, but in talking to Ken Hitchcock before the game, with the injuries that they have, you can't overhunt the puck. And one pass from the Ducks can't beat 2 guys. You're going to have sticks in the lanes. You're going to have to play a very, very intelligent hockey game here tonight without the likes of Stastny, Backes, Oshie, Lindstrom.
And at the same time, Hitch wants to keep the Ducks off balance if he can. As they come in, not at full strength necessarily, but the Blues, Darren, as you said, they are missing 3 of their key players tonight and won't be back anytime soon.
No, but one thing's for sure is the always reliable Alex Pietrangelo and Jay Bouwmeester will see that guy, Ryan Getzlaf, all night long.
He is on with Perry and Bolesky. They had Danny Heatley on that line the other night in Chicago. And now Perry with it, chops it by Bouwmeester. And the first man back, Pietrangelo. Chased by Bolesky, puck up the wall. Schwartz gets it out. And on the stick now, Cam Fowler, stolen by the Blues. Here comes Berglund. And he pulls up to make a play. Berglund. And then to Schwartz, and it's off the stick of Berglund back to center ice.
Yeah, Bouwmeester was expecting that puck to go in deep. Bouwmeester had flown from his left point down deep. Schwartz covered for him, but that pass was off the mark by Berglund.
And now the Ducks regrouping in their own zone. Getzlaf to center. And that's tipped in by Smith-Pelly. Ian Cole there. The Blues going with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen tonight. As Jackman races over and hits Ryan Reeves at the line. Now to center ice. Here's Ott, and then walked along by Lapierre. Lapierre goes after back of the goal against Sammy Vatanen, who had a pair of goals against the Blues in the Ducks' 3-0 win. Now Jackman for Lapierre. 3-on-2 here. And a shot. Rebound. Reeves missed a wide open top corner. What a chance there for Ryan Reeves.
Kessler got caught up in the offensive zone. Odd man break for the Blues.
And then a shot to the wing by Heatley. Easy save for Allen. And now Kessler picks it up, the longtime Canuck. Back on the line, Lindholm a shot, rebound, and it's saved by Allen. Heatley thought he had scored, I think.
Allen did a great job with that knuckle puck right between the blocker, right between the elbow and the side of his body. Those are tough ones, boy. Doesn't seem like a hard shot, but these are tough ones to get that elbow in tight, off-speed puck. A lot of those end up dribbling through. And here's that shot off the pad, right on the mark, and boy, Ryan Reeves, he pulled it wide. He missed the fairway by 3 yards on this one here. Pass off pad, perfectly executed down the right side. Oh, and Ryan Reeves just pulled it.
And I was right. Heatley raised his hands there, and he thought he scored there. Well, that chance on Jake Allen. No score here. That is lobbed in by Steen. On with Tarasenko and Lehtera. And now the Ducks with Beauchemin. Beauchemin on defense with Lindholm. And they will see a lot of this Tarasenko line. Beauchemin now to center ice for Emerson Edom. Their first round pick in 2010. Here's Edom. Puts one in front. That's blocked. Long pass ahead, and here come the Blues into the zone. Shattenkirk in front off a shin pad. That hit Lindholm and goes wide of the goal. And now jammed up the boards by Lindholm, their 20-year-old from Sweden. Blues right back in there. Here's Steen. He looks out high. Everybody's covered. And now loses on the boards to Cam Fowler.
Yeah, his two line mates wait for a change, so he was all alone there.
And now the Ducks with it. And Jakob Silfverberg to center ice, the former Senator. Fowler plays it back. Now for Clayton Stoner. And then Fowler goes for a skate. Here, we'll see how aggressive the Blues are tonight against the good Ducks club. Well, considering they're shorthanded.
Well, there's a 1-4 right there through the neutral zone. I mean, you basically had 2D at the blue line, 2 forwards side by each, and not allowing Anaheim to get in. But the thing about Anaheim, too, John, is that they are very good at gap closure. I wanted to show you this right here because basically Steen would like to get that all the way to Tarasenko. Beauchemin takes away the line. And Steen couldn't even get to the red line to get in a good, strong chip. That was a great defensive play by Francois Beauchemin. Real smart veteran defenseman. So you know when you're up against him, you know he's going to close that gap and not give you that red line.
A one-time Duck who was on their Cup team in 07. Reacquired from Toronto in the Joffrey Lupul trade. Now it is Corey Perry. Gets it back of the goal. Bouwmeester away from Bolesky. And then tipped by Lapierre. Here's a 2-on-1. Yashkin and Pietrangelo. Yashkin in, a shot. And a save by John Gibson on that knee-high shot. On the 2-on-1 as Yashkin let it go.
Yashkin was looking because it was Alex Pietrangelo that was jumping up on the right side. Your typical play by the Blues and many teams with that weak side defenseman just getting going and jumping up in the play. And boy, does Pietrangelo want that one there. But by the time Yashkin pulls that puck around Fistrick, he's probably thinking, I don't want to give up or be reluctant to get a shot on goal and try to make a fancy play that goes off the tip of his blade. So he tries to catch the goalie by surprise, but it was too high. Got him in the midsection.
And now the face-off won by Lehtera. He's the Blues' best face-off man at 60%. That's turned away by Gibson. Now Steen. Off the boards, Lehtera. Tarasenko, what a pass back. Now Lehtera again for Shattenkirk. And across, Gunnarsson. Red shot. They score! I think Steen tipped it in. It's 1-0.
That puck is on a string. Continuing what happened a couple of nights ago in Dallas where they combined for 14 shots. Just small area passes. We're just going to let this run for you. Great support by Lehtera to Tarasenko. That's Lehtera Tarasenko doing their work right there. It's a two-headed monster. And then the shot by Gunnarsson. Keep your eye on Steen. And it hits the side of his body, maybe his pants on the left side, and beyond the goaltender on the far side, change in direction. That's called a really great puck support. You got the middleman, the hub and the wheel, and Lehtera. Tremendous hockey sense all the way around.
Yeah, that was pretty to watch. The goal at 4:29. It looks like Steen will get it, his second of the year, and first in 5 games. And Darren, you had as good an angle as anyone. It looked like it hit right in the pants.
Yeah, there's no question. I just leaned over to Alexander Steen and said, off the pants, and he said, yeah. And we know Steen, he's not going to take that goal if it doesn't go off him. But
Now it is Edom. He comes in one-on-one. A shot and a save by Allen. Good move there by Edom. And now the Blues have it.
Oh, smart play by Jackman there. Why play that up the boards? Go back, retreat, and have puck possession.
And the whistle. Well, Darren, for now they've given the goal to Gunnarsson, but we anticipate a change on that goal.
Well, this play by Gunnarsson is a smart shot right there. Gets by the first forward, right off the left hip of Alexander Steen. As he gets away from Fistrick, it goes right between them, right off the pants, clearly, and past the glove side, just inside the post on Gibson.
So that will be Steen's goal from Gunnarsson Shattenkirk. That's 4:29. Now Pietrangelo, nice pass ahead. And on the tape of Yashkin. Now moved in by Patrick Berglund, who is still looking for his first goal this year. Yashkin back of the net. To Berglund, a shot. Saved by Gibson, rebound. And swatted away by the Ducks as Schwartz had a look at it. Now on the cycle again to Yashkin. And then Berglund comes in. Big high hit on Getzlaf. And the puck pops to center ice for Perry. And Perry into the zone now. Getzlaf in there with Bolesky to Bolesky. And he can't get a shot. Great backside pressure there by the Blues. And then Yashkin for Bolmeister. Here's Schwartz at the line and waits a little long and finally clears it out. Corey Perry whips it right back in there.
Yeah, he was looking for Getzlaf. Getzlaf was turned the other way.
Now Shattenkirk, nice speed. And Laterra's shot popped up in the air and right into the glove of Gibson. And we get a whistle. Steen with the goal, 1-0 for the good guys.
There's a happy little camper. And there's a happier little camper. and they're waiting for the replay. And if they were sitting on the glass in the corner, this is what their view would look like. And it's a good one. The puck possession was incredible. Gunnarsson's shot, just intelligent, not hard, but he makes sure he gets it through the first forward. And this snaps this shutout streak against these pesky Ducks at 129-58. It's a good way to start a hockey game against a team that you have had trouble scoring and lost the last 4 games against.
Yeah, that's the first Blues goal against the Ducks since Schwartz scored last January on a power play. Face-off one, Tarasenko can't get a shot on goal.
Yeah, but the last 7 games, Anaheim's only given up 10 goals against and 5 at even strength. So they defend pretty well.
I would say. And as you said, they've won the last 4 against the Blues. Steen blasted in. Tarasenko on the boards, but now worked away by Cogliano. Jordan Leopold gets back.
A good battle by Leopold. He didn't give up on that.
Leopold on defense here with Shattenkirk. And again, the Blues are going with 7 defensemen tonight with all the injuries and illnesses. Now Tarasenko. What a pass. 3-on-2. Berglund feeds it in and just off the stick of Porter. What a pass there by Tarasenko. And now Berglund out of the corner. Wide open is Pietrangelo. And his wrist shot wide by about 20 feet. That may have been tipped on the way through. And now Tarasenko, or rather Pietrangelo, in for the point. He darts by Lindholm. And then pulls up on the wall. And then the Ducks break it up in Silverberg. Out of his own zone. Puts it on goal. And that's blockered away by Allen. And then Pietrangelo hits Berglund at center ice. In for Porter and a shot. And a save by Gibson. No further play.
As we have an official scoring change.
Good easy save there by Gibson as the goaltender that's not playing tonight. Watching Gibson, none other than Brian Elliott. And that is our dirt cheap snapshot of the game. How could we forget that costume from last year? 18, call home.
How does he top that tomorrow?
I'm not sure how Els is going to do it, the guy they call Moose. But I know one thing. He's not going to be wearing a little hoodie for Halloween tomorrow night because it's supposed to be about 37 degrees around 8 o'clock.
Chilly night here in St. Louis.
Warm.
Blues win the faceoff back for Jackman. And now Steve Ott. Angles went back on the goal for Reeves. Had a goal in the Blues' last home game against Chicago. Almost had one early tonight. And the Ducks play one to center ice. Lapierre bangs it back in. Shots are 7-6 for the Blues. And they lead on the goal by Steen. And a shot by Lindholm blocked.
that's a play, John, that there's no play to get it in deep. You have to wonder if the best play wasn't just to play it back to Gunnarsson, the defenseman, and then have a full regroup.
Here's a 3-on-2. Lapierre cruises in. And a shot off the body of Reeves. That's the same play, Darren, we saw earlier. That shot off the pad. But this time it was too high for even a big guy like Ryan Reeves, who goes 6'1". And now Bouwmeester, center ice for Schwartz. And then Yashkin down the wall. Trying to sneak by the defenseman Stoner. Puck comes back to the right point, and there's Shattenkirk. And he gets it deep now for Schwartz. Schwartz is chased by Fowler. Turns, fires it on goal, rebound. Now Shattenkirk a shot. That was off Raquel in front. And then Schwartz back to Cole. That shot hit a stick, ends up on the near wing for Berglund. And now Yashkin gets it to the front. And the Ducks break it up. And chopped away by Edom to center ice. In for Raquel. And there's Shattenkirk held up in the corner by Raquel, but he goes to his partner, Ian Cole. Off a stick. That hit Yashkin, stays in the zone. But a great read by Shattenkirk. Then he comes to center ice. A change. Here's Steen off the bench. He goes wide. Now the wraparound in front. And then back to Bouwmeester. Fires one to the corner shot. That's wide off the stick of Porter. Now Pietrangelo at the line for Tarasenko. Barely kept in and then hooked to the corner by Steen. And then the Ducks give it up. Laterra with it. And his centering feed was blocked. And Ricard Raquel up the wing now to Perry. Picked off by Steen. And now the Ducks on a second chance do clear it away. And here's Steen at center ice. Ducks caught in a line change.
Bolesky came in there, and Steen just saw him at the last second. He had to defend himself against that big hit right to my left.
And that is chipped in by Lindholm. Pietrangelo under some pressure. And it comes up the middle. Good stick there by Magnus Pajärvi. He gets into the zone. And Perry back there defensively for Anaheim.
Well, Hitchcock wants to keep this line off the ice as much as possible to get to that line, and they haven't been able to get into any flow so far.
Now Fistrick, the defenseman, the hit in the corner. That's on Jackman, goes back to the goal. Here's Perry, gets it in front, right through the goal crease area. And now Porter comes over, hits Fistrick. And Ian Cole tries the other side. Oh, a pass up the middle, that's on the tape of Getzlab. Now Cole with a second chance to escape the puck to center ice.
He played it right to the guy, Lapierre, who's trying to get a line change, and he's 2 feet from him.
Well,
Lapierre says, I don't want it. He gives it right back to him.
Now it's picked off at center ice. Yashkin in for Berglund. And he takes the hit from Stoner. And then Berglund trying to get the puck in front. And Silfverberg back on the Duck goal with 8:30 left in the first period. Blues leading on the goal by Steen from Gunnarsson and Shattenkirk. And now it is Stoner. He'll roll it in, but the Ducks are offside. So a good start for the short-handed Blues, who have taken a 1-0 lead over the Ducks.
Well, there's Lance Lynn taking a little hockey action here at Scottrade. Why wouldn't he? On an evening like this and that last shift, he's seen ball placement here. Now he's got puck placement. Lapierre fired it off the far pad early in the game. Reeves just misses. Same sequence going off the far pad and trying to get an exploding rebound off the pads of the goaltender, John Gibson. They're going to peck away at it. He's a big goaltender, comes a lot of areas, got good hands, good athlete. Sometimes the only way from sharp angles is funneling pucks off the far pad for rebounds.
Gibson had his second career shutout 2 nights ago,
or have
the
1-0
win.
Or have one go up your hip, like Steiner.
Exactly. Now it is Lapierre, along with Reeves and Steve Ott. Silfverberg, he'll deal one to the corner. Thompson goes after it. And now for Cogliano. Leopold back of the Blues goal. Knocked down, but gets it ahead. Got out, long shot, blocked by Ryan Reeves. Got right in the shooting lane and blocked the shot by Lindholm. And he'll feed it back in his own zone for Bolshevik. Shots 8-7 for the Blues. Now Silfverberg into the speedy Cogliano. Shattenkirk and Thompson fight for it. And then Lapierre comes over to dig it free. And a high hoister on the backhand. It comes to center ice. Lindholm a pass.
And Hitchcock comes back with Lehtera, Tarasenko, and Steen.
As the Ducks pull their top defensive duo off the ice. And now it is Steen for the Blues. And then Jackman. Return feed, too hot to handle for Steen. Bistrick now on the far side to Vatanen. And here come the Ducks the other way. Into Ryan Kessler, a shot. And gloved and held by Allen. Well, Saturday night, the Colorado Avalanche come to town for the first time, and it's Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Join the Blues for one of the most personal and impactful nights of the year. T-shirts and pins will be sold, awareness raised, and Be The Match will be registering potential bone marrow donors. $5 of each ticket sold using the promo code HFC14 goes to Hockey Fights Cancer. Get your tickets at stlouisblues.com/HFC. Here's a long shot from the point by Stoner. Hit a Blues player. And now Berglund away. Berglund into the zone to Schwartz. Back for Berglund. And just out of his reach. And now Berglund chased by Smith-Pelly. And the Ducks take over.
Good hit by Yashkin on Kessler there as Kessler makes the pass. Yashkin goes right through him.
Now it's dumped into the corner. Gunnarsson for Yashkin. Oh, he had his pocket picked. And a save by Allen on that dangerous player, Dan Heatley. As the Blues coughed it up right in front of their own goal. That was Yashkin, who had a tough path to take there. And Smith-Pelly with it for the Ducks. There, that was their best chance by a long shot in the first period. Now it's center ice, Lehtera. For Tarasenko. Works in a rocket, and he missed on the short side. Now Lehtera again. Here is Steen. He's bottled up by Fowler. Steen gets it back. And looking to move off the wall, now to Tarasenko. And then down low to Tara. He was hit by Stoner. And the puck taken by Anaheim to center ice, and here's Emerson Edom. Edom pulls up, and a shot doesn't get through. Then Lindholm a drive, on goal, and a save by Allen, and it's loose in front. But not cleared. Edom again a shot. Glove save by Allen, and no further play.
Jackman was sniffing around in front of the net. That was the best shift for that fourth line, but equaled by Jake Allen, and no rebound. Well, Dmitry Yashkin had a good shift physically against Ryan Kessler. As we take a look at Yashkin here, is going to just finish his check right here. After Kessler lays the puck, you don't want to give him a freebie right there. And then Yashkin comes back to his own zone here. He thinks he's got more time. One hand on the stick. Danny Heatley does an excellent job, strips it. Yashkin obviously doesn't expect it, but a real good butterfly save down low by the goaltender Jake Allen, who's been sharp early here.
Heatley played his first game of the year the other night in Chicago after suffering a groin injury in training camp. A two-time 50-goal scorer. Almost tied the game. Now the Blues, Lapierre on to Bouwmeester. 5.5 to go in the period. Long shot well wide. Comes off the end boards down to Payarvi. That surprised the Ducks. Ott to the back now for Pietrangelo. That shot hit a Anaheim player in front, I believe, Bocheman. And rattles wide, then Bolesky, hounded by Ott. But Bolesky gets it out. Pietrangelo back to his partner, Bouwmeester.
I like this. Lapierre's getting a lot more ice time, getting into the flow of the game. And he, Ott, and Payarvi going up for at least half shifts against the Getzlaf line.
Now it is Lindholm. Young defenseman out of Sweden. Broken up by Schwartz. Here's Berglund for Schwartz. He'll shovel one back on the goal. And then played around to Heatley. His pass. A soft one, cut off by Yashkin. He'll throw one back to the cage. And now it comes near the line and bounces to center ice. Schwartz knocked down, but gets into Berglund. And right back in the zone. And the Blues make a change on the fly. And Getzlaf a feet ahead, tipped along by Cogliano. With Shattenkirk trying to spin off the check. And now for Tarasenko. Oh, a risky pass there.
Well, Nate Thompson read that.
And now Cogliano in front. Stoner a shot and a save by Allen. Here's Cogliano again. And then Thompson worked over by Lehtera. Hitchcock says he has a lot of confidence in Lehtera in all three zones. And the puck in front And gobbled up by Shattenkirk. Now to center, Tarasenko. Hard pass, Lehtera. Drops it. Tarasenko back to Lehtera. And on goal. And a shot and a save by Gibson. And the Ducks get the rebound, and Thompson to center ice. And that goes all the way down.
Well, Lehtera came to the bench, John, and just a little frustrated with that decision. Otherwise, a good entry into the zone.
And now Ian Cole gains the red line. Takes a hit, gets it in, and then Reeves a hit. Puck comes free now for Lapierre. And then Chris Porter supporting. Back of the goal, Fowler. And he looks ahead. Everybody's covered. And then the Ducks slow it down. Ducks have won their last 4 games on the road. And 8-2 overall. Blues come in at 4-3-1 as they have won their last 2. Beauchemin to center ice off Kessler's skate. Then collected by Berglund. Now for Cole. Off the boards and out. Here's Ott for Payarvi. And he'll jam it in. Lindholm takes cover back of the net. Under 3 to play here in the first. Alexander Steen has scored the only goal. Berglund, good check at center ice. And Shattenkirk on his skates into the zone. Now to Berglund. Back on the line to Leopold. Wide open. Hard pass to Shattenkirk. And a spot pass for Berglund. He wasn't ready for it. Now Berglund follows one back on the goal for Payarvi. As the Swedes go to work. Payarvi tied up by 2 Ducks. And then Ott comes in to pick it up. In the slot. And off Berglund's stick, and the Ducks head the other way. Raquel with it at center ice. And off the active corner boards comes in front. Shattenkirk blew a tire. And a shot by Raquel. And that did not get on goal.
Well, Raquel had Stoner wide open on the far side. Didn't see him.
Shattenkirk now for Leopold.
Are you calling Ott a Swede?
No, the 2 Swedes at Ott.
Ottenlund, Ottarby.
I don't think he'd like that, Darren. Maybe he would, I don't know. The Swedes are nice people, I know that. And now we get a penalty here, our first of the night.
It's been a heck of a flow to this game. Real good flow. Blues forwards are probably enjoying the fact there's a 11 forwards, 7D. With all the injuries that Ken Hitchcock and the group have had to deal with, Raquel gets a complete lasso around the defenseman Alex Pietrangelo. Easy call for the referee. An offensive zone minor penalty against Raquel.
So Bruce Boudreau's club short-handed for the first time. The Blues power play, 8 for 33, just over 24%. And of course they won the game the other night on a 4-on-3 goal in overtime. Ducks on the kill, 25 of 31, and that adds up to 80.6%.
It's a good idea having Tarasenko on there in a 4-on-3.
I would think so. Here's Pietrangelo for Tarasenko, his first ever hat trick, first ever 4-point game. Now to Berglund. And then back of the goal, comes around to Bouwmeester. And he slows it down in the corner around the boards. Pietrangelo has to race over and does hold it in, but now the Ducks break it up. And Kessler clears it by Pietrangelo. But there is a swift skating Bouwmeester back to get it. First power play of the night goes to the Blues. Bouwmeester a pass. Tipped in by Pietrangelo. Now back of the goal, Beauchemin. Nice little short pass. That's lobbed high by Silverberg. And then Cogliano in against Bouwmeester. And a good stick there by Steen. And now recovered by Tarasenko.
Cogliano can't scoot. Man, he caught up to that puck easily.
Now Tarasenko for Ott in the final minute here of the first period. And the Ducks play it back to center ice. The Ducks had their only goal the other night in Chicago, a short-handed goal by Smith Pelly in the third period. Now Getzlaf stole it, and a shot just missed. He was wide open in front, speaking of short-handed attempt.
Completely lackadaisical by the entire group of Blues right there, and Shattenkirk's all alone. He's just waiting to play the puck to somebody. No one was coming out and giving him an outlet.
Now Shattenkirk in front. Berglund with it. His shot blocked. Held in by Cole. To Berglund. Berglund fires it. That's blocked. Now Berglund again. Back to Cole. Duck player's hurt. Pass on the way. Shattenkirk. A shot. Tipped by Ott. Off the glass. And the Ducks with it. And Getzlaf takes a hit from Ott. And he sails it high down the ice. That's going to do it. The end of the first period.
Quite an effort by Smith Pelly blocking a shot for his goaltender Gibson at the very, very end of that first period. Good one for Jake Allen. Good goaltending there by Gibson. Steen's got the only goal so far. It went off his hip. And here's the play by Smith Pelly as he blocks this shot right on the inside of his right knee. No protection there because it was just turned over. Our Plaza Tire Service shot comparison. The Steen, Lehtera, Tarasenko line combined for 5 shots on goal. Let's go upstairs to Scott and Bernie, fellas.
All right, Darren, thanks so much. And Bernie Federico, of course, the Blues short-handed, and for the most part, a relatively good opening 20 minutes by the note here.
Well, when you consider the Blues have all these injuries, it's real nice to see them come together. Everybody stepped up a little bit. I mean, the Blues allowed 13 shots on goal, which I'm sure Ken Hitchcock is not that impressed with, but I thought that Jake Allen was very sharp. But hey, you get a goal. That's what you want to do. You want to keep the Anaheim Ducks on the outside. You want to keep them away from their game, and I thought the Blues did a marvelous job with the aggressiveness that they had in that period to make sure that the Ducks couldn't find their own game.
All right, coming up, we have the St. Paul GM Country Intermission Report. We'll recap the opening 20 minutes as Alexander Steen gets the lone goal. Blues up by 1.
Alexander Steen has the only goal as we get set for the second period. The Blues and Ducks getting together for the second time this year.
Well, this could be called the STL line, as many suggested on Twitter, or the Tarasenko line, but that's only 2 people. You need 3 people on a line. But one thing for sure is this 26-year-old is good on the dots too. His face-off percentage after 1 period, a perfect 100%, going 5-0, and he's over 63% on the year.
Blues hockey is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Blues had a brief power play carry over. That has now expired. Here comes Berglund in. Berglund a shot and a save by Gibson with a shoulder. Blues no shots on that power play. Now the Ducks come back in. Here's Kessler, who was picked up in the offseason from Vancouver.
Good back checking there by Yashkin, really helping out Shattenkirk.
Here the Ducks back in. And play broken up. Smith Pelly had it. Now it goes back of the goal. And Allen leaves it for Shattenkirk. Here's Gunnarsson for Schwartz. And then Lehtera. And a pass ahead. Moved along by Schwartz for Tarasenko. A shot. And that's off a stick. And it goes out of play.
You got to have a quick stick to defend against that shot by the lightning quick hands there of Tarasenko. There's the first pass by Shattenkirk. I mean, right on the tape through the neutral zone to a streaking Patrick Berglund, who tried to go to the far side. There wasn't much room. I had a really good look at it from ice level between the benches, John. A left-hand shot going down the right side can often get the goalie to collapse, cheat to the stick side, leave a little bit of the cheat to the glove side, leave a little of the stick side open, but there was nothing there.
Now from the face-off, Lehtera. He's knocked down by Getzlaf. And then Perry comes in, and he was upended by Lehtera, and a penalty called against Lehtera.
Corey Perry already has 2 hat tricks this season. We'll see where that stick is there. Oh, the right knee of Lehtera. That's why. Right knee of Lehtera comes in and dumps an unsuspecting Perry from that position there. So Perry thinks he's getting corkscrewed on one side, and then he gets that knee in the back of the knee on the left side. That hurts because you're not expecting it, I would imagine.
And as you saw, he has gone to the locker room. Ducks power play, 9 for 40, 22.5%. The Blues on the kill have not been very good of late. They have allowed a power play goal in 5 straight games. Here's Vatanen. Ducks' first power play tonight. Vatanen had a pair of power play goals against the Blues a few weeks ago. Now Kessler for Smith Pelly in the slot. Heatley fans on it, and it's cleared away by Pietrangelo.
Well, Smith Pelly forced that. I mean, there was no chance for Danny Heatley to get that puck. He was surrounded.
Heatley had 4 shots in that first period. Now an icing call as Perry has returned to the Ducks bench.
Well, it'll be interesting to see tomorrow night's game in Dallas for Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaf going up against the Dallas Stars after that heated series last year. Look for the St. Louis native. Actually, Pat Maroon told me today that he's in all likelihood able to return for tomorrow. Likely would have been ready for tonight's game. But I think they're bulking up for that game, John.
Yeah, there was some bad blood. A series the Ducks won in 6. And then the Ducks went on and lost in the next round to the Kings in 7.
And it was heated, that one. We've seen that line of Roussel, Cody Eakin, and Ryan Garbutt, and there was a lot of bad blood there last year in that playoff series. Another guy that was just recalled, John Kelly, former NHLer. Blues fans will remember him for that with that Valentine's Day massacre, that fight between Dave Manson and Scott Stevens. Dave Manson's son Josh recalled by Anaheim.
Has not played a game and is not in the lineup, but I believe you were a teammate of Dave Manson.
I was, and I got a text today from Big Walt. He was also a teammate of Dave's when they were in their Winnipeg days.
Here's Corey Perry. His shot and a glove save by Allen. That would look easy.
Yeah, that means that glove was in an incredible position. And the athleticism and the hand-eye coordination of Jake Allen is rock solid. Good presence in net. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. So we often talk about how big John Gibson is. John Gibson, 6'3", 216. I mean, Jake Allen's here. You're basically your average size goaltender in the NHL now. Can you believe that? At 6'2", 196 pounds, that's basically average size.
My, how goalies have grown over the years, Darren.
I don't think my 5'4.5", 135-pound frame is going to cut it nowadays.
No, you brought the average way down when you're playing, kid. As Lapierre back for the Blues. Now the Ducks send it to the line. Lindholm to the far side for Fowler. Ducks went 2 for 3 on the power play against the Blues.
Backdoor play is open.
Raquel in front, and they fan on the pass. That was Bolesky, who was set up in the slot, and he missed it.
Well, they're looking for Lindholm on the backside, and the bench has been very sharp for the Blues, John. A lot of communication, a lot of chirping, letting the guys know that the back door was open.
Now it is Fowler. Indirectly around the boards for Smith-Pelly. His pass in front. Lindholm with it, a shot. And Ott slides and blocks it, and it goes out of play.
Good effort by Ott there as he skates by Lindholm. We had Lindholm in that game in Anaheim. Lindholm.
Lindstrom.
Here's that play. What a desperation play. Look at two players on the ice. Here's the play before. The back door is on the right side of your screen as you're looking at right there, and it just didn't get through. But because the attempt wasn't there because the Blues finally collapsed. Slow developing by Anaheim, but he was wide open.
And Ott may have gotten his stick in at the last second there to break it up. The Blues are now back at full strength. Laterra's back. No shot for the Ducks in the power play. And both teams are 0 for 1. It is Carl Gunnarsson has an assist tonight in his second game with the Blues. Ducks steal it back on the goal. Cogliano chased by Shattenkirk. Now Cogliano, the former first rounder by the Oilers. Off the board, Silverberg plays one to the corner now for Thompson. And then back on the goal, Shattenkirk trying to move it along. Silverberg again. Off Boschman's skate. And then it comes to the Blues and Berglund. Up the middle, Shattenkirk. And his shot bounces wide. And now Silverberg reverses for the veteran Boschman. Long stretch pass to the speedy Cogliano. Now for Thompson. And that was blocked by Ian Cole. Up in the air, Thompson gloves it down. And now Cole on the far wing. And he is spun around, but Cole goes after it again. And now Cole emerges from the corner. And look out from behind. He almost had his pocket picked by Corey Perry. And it goes back to the line. Shattenkirk now for Tarasenko. Late on his shift, he'll tip it in deep. Here's Stoner up the board, picked off. Schwartz with it, a shot! And a save by Gibson on a high drive by Schwartz. And Yashkin on the forecheck. Here's Heatley out there now with Perry and Getzlaf. So this line, which was together in Chicago, has been reunited here in the second period. Blues dump it in.
That was a quick little wrister there by Schwartz. Went up high, trying to go high to the blocker's side. I thought at first it hit the bar. It might have hit the knob of the stick.
And then it's Payarvi getting hit hard by Edom. Ducks come into the zone. And Emerson Edom, number 16. And now Payarvi comes back on him. And the puck at the line. Worked out by the Blues. Not Pierre hit. There the Ducks right back in. Perry. He goes wide. And chased back of the goal by Pietrangelo. And a hard pass back for Boschevich. And his drive goes wide. Comes around to Pietrangelo.
And he can fire it.
And now Porter off the boards. His good speed allows him to get there. And the pass back hit the referee. That would have been on the tape of Jackman. And that was right off the skates of the referee, Paul Dvorsky, and a tough break for the Blues.
And that's twice that puck has done that over the far side, both with the veteran referee Dvorsky, but...
And the puck's on the mesh behind the goaltender Gibson, and now we get a whistle.
Well, we saw Schwartz fire his first hat trick this year. It was in Phoenix. We'll keep our eye on this play. You can see that turnover there. Schwartz's shot, yeah, right off the knob of the stick. See it from this angle here. He's got to get it away from the defenseman and then trying to go high to the blocker side. These guys have incredible skill and vision with very little amount of time to make that decision.
From the face-off, Tarasenko, a shot. That, I think, hit the shoulder, then the crossbar. I heard crossbar, or goalpost. Now it comes in front again. And a good stick by Gibson, and the puck to center ice. And Leopold back, wrapped up by Jackman. Leopold now for Barrett Jackman. And ahead to Steen. Tarasenko behind the defense. The pass to him. That goes down the ice. Oh, Gibson almost touched that out of the trapezoid. And the puck to center ice. Gunnarsson off the boards. Tim Jackman there. He'll float it right back in as both clubs make changes. And Gunnarsson, he passes up the middle. That's picked up, and he recovers and knocks it away from Kessler. And now Shattenkirk, his feet, tipped by Ott. Ducks break it up. Here they come. Not very far, though. And now Steve Ott motors into the zone, 3-on-3. And he can't get around the Duck defenseman Botton. And it goes back to Gunnarsson. Shattenkirk now for Ott. As we have played 7 minutes here in the second period. The only goal by Steen at the 4:29 mark of the first. And the puck chipped away, and Kessler gets it with Smith-Pelly, 2-on-1. And a shot by Kessler, and he whipped it high. Now Botton to the back. And a drive by Stoner on goal. And a save by Allen, and no rebound. Still 1-0 Blues here in the second.
Well, we welcome you inside Scott Trade Center from Fox Sports Midwest. John Kelly upstairs, fans on their feet. It's a great moment in sports. Service member of the game, Carol Williams, and the fans on their feet. Both teams clapping their sticks on the boards. Tarasenko's never scored against the Ducks, John Kelly. Close here, though. Off the shoulder, off the post, and then Tarasenko tries to grab it on his way by.
That was his first shot of the night. Ducks win the face-off, and that is feathered back of the goal. Now picked up by the Blues. Berglund can't move it out. Cogliano in the slot. Yashkin gets it away from him. And now Barrett Jackman moves it up the middle. Picked off, though. And a drive up high by Silverberg. As again, the Blues are careless. And Ian Cole. Now for Schwartz. To the Duck line. That's rejected by Fowler. And then Silverberg plays one for the former Wild player Stoner. On to center ice. Broken up, and Berglund has it. Surrounded by 4 Anaheim players. Now for Schwartz. And then down low. Fowler back of the goal. And that hit the referee. Comes right back to number 44, Nate Thompson, who takes cover back of the goal. Thompson hounded by Tarasenko. Blues changing there. And then Steen whips it right back in. Now Fowler moves it. Risky pass. Comes in front. And off the boards and out. Blues with their big line on the ice. Here's Steen back in there. Pass blocked. Goes to Bouwmeester. A drive on goal. And a save by Gibson. The rebound was loose, but played to the corner. Now shoveled out by Perry. And then Steen will drop it off. Pietrangelo with some room here. What a pass, Laterra! And he tried to go to Steen and was blocked. What a pass by Pietrangelo. Now Steen back of the goal. In front, looking for Laterra. Comes to Pietrangelo. And then to his partner, Bouwmeester, a drive, it got through and a save by Gibson. And Laterra again. Now Tarasenko in front, trying to find Steen.
Oh, he had Pietrangelo slide in from the right point.
And then Tarasenko knocked down, gets back up, centers it, Laterra there. And it's covered by Gibson.
Well, this all starts with a clean entry into the offensive zone. The shift before that, there was a turnover inside the Blues blue line. Not this time. Pietrangelo does a good job of moving up. He fakes the shot and goes right to Laterra, who tries to little back pass there. But Bouwmeester shot from the left point with traffic in front. A little bit of a redirection right there and a good save down low by Gibson.
Shots in this period, 4-1 for the Blues. And off the faceoff, Lindholm for the visitors to center ice. And then Tim Jackman for Getzlaf. And the puck worked to the corner. Now for Edom. In front to Getzlaf, who's seen double duty now. Back on the line, Lindholm a shot. That comes off the end boards. Ellen got his stick down to break it up. And now Getzlaf away from Gunnarsson. And the Duck captain a pass. That's blocked by a good stick of Kevin Shattenkirk. And he gets the puck to center ice. Now Shattenkirk in, 3-on-2 now. Looks to center it. And his pass hit a stick. And it comes around and now worked to center ice by Jackman.
That was very good stick on puck there by Lindholm, the defenseman. On Shattenkirk. Shattenkirk kept waiting and waiting, thinking he had a little bit of a lane to pass it. But that stick was on the puck the whole time.
And no icing here. Oh, Piarvi almost picked it off. Puck up the middle. Berglund on the ice. And now the Ducks break it up and they roll it the other way. Lindholm works a lot with assistant coach Scott Niedermayer. Speaking of good sticks and great players. Now Berglund with it. He works it. Berglund a shot. And that was tipped just wide. Maybe looking for a tip from Yashkin. And now Yashkin gets it back in the goal. Spins off the Bolshevin check. And the puck played around to the near side. Jackman there. His shot was blocked. And then the Ducks come up with it in Danny Heatley. Now for Kessler. Smith-Pelly down his off wing. Against Leopold. And Leopold, the veteran, does a good job. And then Berglund was knocked down. Puck goes back to the goal. Smith-Pelly with 9:15 to go in the period. Still 1-0 for the Blues. At the line, Berglund can't get there. Kessler, Smith-Pelly looking for the give and go, but everybody's covered. And a good job by Jackman off the glass and out.
Yeah, that play by Jackman allows a little bit of a change here. Bouwmeester jumps in for Leopold. Cole can't get on just yet. Now Pietrangelo jumps on.
And now the Ducks have passed to center ice. Getzlaf up the near wing. Now Laterra spun around. Here's Getzlaf again. To Bolesky. He cuts in, goes wide, and tries to center one. That is the skate of Bouwmeester. And then Cam Fowler a pass. Here's Getzlaf with it, a drive. Blocked, I think, by Bouwmeester or Laterra, and it goes into the netting. 8:30 left in the second. 1-0 Blues.
You've had to deal with adversity before in your coaching career. You talked about Columbus being one of them years ago. How do you think the boys have handled it so far in this one?
Oh, we've done fine. I think the one thing that we're concerned about is that we've had all these grade A chances off the rush, and we haven't finished them off. We really could have had 2 or 3 this period on just odd man rushes and just us and the goalie. So if that doesn't come back to haunt us, because we're playing a heck of a hockey game right now.
You've done a great job of keeping Perry and Getzlaf a little bit quiet in this one.
Well, we're doing it as a group of 5. Every time they touch the puck, we got 5 guys racing over that side of the ice. So they're not able to make those 85-foot plays that they normally make.
Thanks, Hitch.
All right, thanks to head coach Ken Hitchcock. Now the puck stolen by Tarasenko. In on Fowler. He spins around, trying to find Laterra, who's cutting up the middle. That was blocked. Silverberg back for the Ducks. 1-on-1. His shot. That goes high. And now Shattenkirk in the corner, up the boards, Laterra. And then Tarasenko back to Laterra. They look for each other every time they have the puck. Tarasenko at the line. Oh, look out. He was hit by the knee of Thompson. And he goes down and gets right back on his skates. But the Blues don't like that hit. And Tarasenko appears to be okay.
Always a tough play, trying to hit a player, try to defend a player while you're going forward.
944 minor for Kning.
They're giving him a minor for kneeing to Nate Thompson, and we'll see him step up here. And he tries to take away the blue line and spin up. These can be very dangerous plays as Tarasenko's trying to cut the other way, and you can see that knee high up on the thigh rather than maybe lower where you get that knee is more the brunt of that play. Those are potentially extremely dangerous players that we've seen throughout the course of the history of the NHL.
And the Blues get their second power play tonight, and Tarasenko seems to be all right. Blues 0 for 1 tonight. They win the faceoff. Back to Bouwmeester. He'll walk the line for Pietrangelo. And now Bouwmeester again with Yashkin in front. Now Pietrangelo, far side. Payarvi back to the line again. In deep for Bouwmeester. And a little shuttle shot block. Yashkin on the far side. Now Payarvi. Here's Bouwmeester working it. He lets it fly. And a save by Gibson. And no further play.
Well, it's a severe angle for that shot to go in, and obviously Bouwmeester's looking for more of a rebound attempt or a shot that maybe slides through the arm. There's a good screen there, but the goaltender can cut down the angle a little bit better from that side and rather than from the middle of the ice. Gibson does a good job of fighting it off and then getting a hold of the rebound as well.
And now it is Laterra, Tarasenko and Steen along with Schwartz and Shattenkirk on this power play. Laterra's toss, so Schwartz will take it against Kessler. And Kessler wins it. Laterra trying to steal it from Stoner. Puck now tipped back to the line. Shattenkirk across for Steen. Little head fake move. And sets it up. And then Laterra for Steen. Shattenkirk winds up. Drive, save. And it's under the pad of Gibson. The net has been knocked free, and that was a break for the Duck goaltender.
Blues working on this morning. This is wonderful rotation. Laterra stronging it over to Steen. One quick motion. The puck actually hits the skate before. It's intended to be on the net. But you see the battle in front of the net after Shattenkirk gets this one right in the wheelhouse. Hits the skate there on the inside of the leg of Kessler. And then it slides over to the goaltender's left to our right on the screen. And Laterra can't get enough on it. Vatanen does a really, really good job of holding off Laterra for as long as possible.
Yeah, Finn against Finn there to the left of Gibson. Now Laterra on the faceoff with 1:14 to go in the power play. He's tossed again. And Schwartz will take the face-off. Wins it from Getzlaf.
Very good win there.
Now Schwartz to the corner. Here's Tarasenko. He'll play one back for Steen. Blues get set up. And then knocked off the stick of Laterra. Good job by Getzlaf, and it's pounded down the ice.
That's just going over video in preparation for Getzlaf, isn't it, John? I mean, he knew that Steen's choice, the dangerous choice, was to cut back again.
And now Tarasenko behind the defense. And he shot the puck wide. I'm not sure if he knew how much time he had, but he was in the clear there. As he was in behind the Duck defense. Now Schwartz down the boards for Berglund. Pass back to the line, kept in. Now in front, here's Berglund again. Blues get set up. Late on the power play. Back for Steen. Almost lost his balance. Great pass, though. Here's Schwartz. And then Tarasenko. He works in and drive and a save by Gibson.
Well, the execution on the breakout to get into the zone was perfect. And Tarasenko's shot right here, right up high into the chest. Here's the breakout. Again, seamless right there. Through the middle of the ice. Tarasenko's got it. He may have a chance to cut in there a little bit before Beauchemin gets to him. I think that just fluttered off the end of the blade. And Tarasenko always has that on the heel or the middle of his blade. That one just fluttered. It was just a missed shot. We don't see it often.
Nope. Blues win the faceoff. Bouwmeester now for Pietrangelo. 10 to go in the power play. And then back to the top for Bouwmeester. One-timer, and that goes wide off the stick of Payarvi. And that goes into the Blues zone. Thompson is now back. The Blues had 2 shots on the power play, but now 0 for 2 on the night. They're leading on a goal from Steen back in the first period. As Beauchemin sends it back in. Well, Allen had it bounce over his stick. And now Bolesky back of the goal. Chopped around by Bouwmeester, but kept in by Perry. And now Getzlaf can't back of the Blues goal. Getzlaf not pressured. Now smoked out by Bouwmeester, then a shot on goal by Bolesky. And a save by Allen. With 5:32 left in the middle frame, and the Blues leading 1-0.
Now for our Plaza Tire Service shot comparison. And the STL line kicking it here in high gear. And only getting hotter as this one goes along. Combined total 10 shots on goal. Remember that Tarasenko shot, John, off the shoulder on the short side, and then it went off the post. Then he had that other one that was high. He had one that missed off the blade. He's had some opportunities that they've just been just a little bit off the mark.
All he needs is one. As we saw in overtime. By the way, he did get the puck the other night from Dallas after scoring in overtime. And his grandfather, 69-year-old Vladimir Tarasenko, called him after the game, as he does every single game. He talks to his grandpa after every game. And Darren, he watches every game. It begins at 6 a.m. Russian time. So, Mr. Tarasenko, how are you doing tonight? Or this morning? And your son is quite a young man and quite a hockey player. And the puck played to center ice. Here is Bolesky. And now back for Stoner. Let's play one up the far side again. Bolesky with it. Under 5 to play here. Long shot patted away by Allen. Now comes around to Perry. And his shot blocked. And Yashkin starts back for the Blues with Schwartz and Berglund. And that rattles around on the far side. And Lindholm back the other way for the Ducks. And a pass for Raquel. Look out! Oh, it was almost tipped by Ian Cole. Allen had to be very alert there.
Yeah, you just get the paddle down and then just cover it up. But in following up with Vladdy Tarasenko as well, I mean, as we take a look at this little flutterer right there.
Well, we did tip it.
Yeah, just a little bit, but the goalie is already prepared for that. Like, in my day, John, we didn't get paddled down like that at all times, but you talk about his grandfather, Vladdy. I mean, he spent most of the time being raised by his grandfather because his father, Andre, was coaching and playing. You know, 19 years of pro hockey. Dad's away a lot. I mean, that's a special, special relationship between grandson and grandfather.
You know what he said, Darren? He said, it was our dream to play in the NHL. His and his grandpa's. And their dream has been fulfilled. Now it is Cole. Back of the goal, Lapierre against Tim Jackman. Now a wraparound try. That was blocked by Allen on Raquel's wraparound. And the Blues get the puck at the line down to center ice, and Lapierre drops it back.
Well, I think that David Rundblad trade to the Ottawa Senators for the 16th overall pick in 2010 was a dandy. The Blues sent that pick and got Vladdy Tarasenko. And Jaden Schwartz with the 14th overall pick.
A couple of dandies. Now the puck tipped in front. Tim Jackman. That shot hit a body. And then goes to Edom. Back on the line. Lindholm a drive. Saved by Allen. Arena shot wide.
No, I think he got his pad on that, John.
Tim Jackman on a wraparound or a turnaround shot with a great chance. And now the Ducks back of the goal. In front. Backhander. And off the stick of Ian Cole and back to center ice. That was maybe the Ducks' most dangerous shift of the period. 3:10 to go in the second. Lindholm blasted in. Allen puts it high on the glass.
Oh, good play by Allen. He's good at handling the puck.
And now Tarasenko, 2-on-3. What a move to the inside. In on goal. And he can't get a shot on net. After he made a brilliant move on the far side.
Holy jumping. He could have maybe fired that with the wrister. He was trying to play it back.
And now Laterra gets free in front. Drops it. Steen. Spin around move. And he can't get a shot on goal. And the Ducks. And Smith-Pelly to center ice. He falls down. Shattenkirk back into Laterra. Great pass across. Steen hooked one in the corner to Tarasenko. Now on the line of Shattenkirk. Fakes it. And then Gunners to the drive. And that goes wide. Back to the line again. Shattenkirk. And he was canceled there by Smith-Pelly. The puck to center ice after a dynamic shift by that Laterra crew. And now it's center ice. They're still on the ice. Here's Steen. They'll bank it off the end boards. And then played by John Gibson, the Pittsburgh native. Up for Smith Pelly. And that comes to center ice. Handled by Bouwmeester. And then Schwartz. Dangerous pass picked off by Cam Fowler. Fowler wanders in. And now Bouwmeester gets his stick free. Puck up the boards. Kept in by Stoner. Now blocked. And now Berglund away. And his pass too soft. Picked up by Schwartz.
Yeah, he was just trying to play that to Schwartz.
To Yashkin, a drive, and he put that one high. And off the glass and back to center ice. Here are the Blues at center, right back in. It's Jaden Schwartz down the slot. Moves in, a shot, hit a leg. Yashkin to Schwartz again. Tight angle. Back for Jackman. Across the seam, one-timer. And Berglund missed the net from the far circle. And then Yashkin off the cycle. Back of the goal to Berglund. Pressure by the Blues. Berglund stops and starts. Everybody's covered now for Schwartz again. Trying to get away from Stoner with a minute to go in the period. And now Schwartz again. In front off the body of the goaltender Gibson. And the Ducks finally get the puck out.
A couple of solid back-to-back shifts by the Blues. Maybe a little more too reluctant, maybe a little too cute with that the Tarasenko line because they had a couple of golden opportunities.
And now Max Lapierre with 35 to go in the period. Getzlaf back of the goal, trying to work in front. That hit Payarvi. And now moved along by Vatanen to center ice. And Bolesky, 3 Blues around him. Shot by Perry goes wide. And then Vatanen pitches in. Shot that by Bouwmeester. Now Pietrangelo, back of the goal, gets it up for his partner. Bouwmeester trying to work it up the boards. And held in by Vatanen. A shot hit the skate of Lapierre. Another shot blocked. And that will do it as the Blues get it out in a scoreless second period at Scottrade.
Oh, that last 5 or 6 minutes were pretty incredibly entertaining. Good pace to it. A lot of chances off the rush. A couple of shifts of good sustained pressure there by the Blues to end that period.
And they outshoot the Ducks 7-4 in the second. Let's go to Scott and Bernie across the way.
All right, John, thanks so much. And Bernie Federko, well, I'll tell you what, as Panger just mentioned, that last 5 minutes, especially with that Tarasenko shift, really the Blues amped up their pressure on the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, you know, the Ducks tried to take some of the pressure away, to try to get some forechecking good, but you know what, the Blues only allowed 4 shots on goal. In fact, the Ducks didn't get their second shot on goal until about 5.5 minutes left in the period. So another grinding period by the Blues. And yes, I agree with Banger. That Laterra line, they like to spin. They're doing maybe too many fancy things. Need to get the puck to the front of the net. You got 3 guys that can really shoot it, and hope for some rebounds. But so far, so good. A 1-0 lead is always good to head into the third period.
All right, coming up, we'll have our Jack in the Box intermission report. We'll break down the first 40 minutes, and we'll take a drive around the league. Alexander Steen with the lone goal in this one. Blues are up 1-0 after 40.
Alexander Steen has the only goal as we get set for the third period. John Kelly upstairs, Darren Pang downstairs. What's so funny down there, Panger?
Oh, no, I will say this. Jori Laterra has a very good sense of humor. He's not fazed by this National Hockey League stress level we're in right here, let me tell you.
Well, he and the Blues have done a really good job tonight against Getzlaf and Perry.
Have they ever? I think as a team, they've really swarmed them well. I mean, 5 men on the puck as much as possible, taking away any kind of time and space against Getzlaf and Perry. But as we well know, 20 minutes left. You've got to still keep them on the perimeter as much as possible.
Teams are at full strength here to begin the third period. The Blues are 3-0 when leading after 2. The Ducks are 1-2 and trailing. And now it is moved along by Schwartz. Schwartz, Yashkin, then Berglund up front here.
That's where that puck does have to get in deep there.
And now Bolesky, a shot, comes in front. And that hits Pietrangelo's stick, goes to the corner, and now moved along for Laterra. And down the wall, he was slowed up. And then Yashkin with it, back to the point. And Pietrangelo's shot handled easily by the goaltender, John Gibson, who came up late last year from Norfolk. Played a couple of games late for the Ducks. Now Shattenkirk in, and he tried to elevate that one over the shoulder. of Gibson, and he held his ground. As you said, Darren, he's a very big goaltender.
Well, we talked about the common sense of Jori Lehtera, and keep your eyes on this outlet play here. That's Lehtera with the puck. Now he's going to gain the zone here. Little stick handle, keeps the puck ahead, keeps it ahead. Now he's strong on it, he gets it back. So a smart play, he's able to play it back to the point, and the play stays alive, entering the zone.
And the Ducks win this faceoff. The Ducks are the best faceoff team in the NHL. But tonight the Blues have won 64%. Now Tarasenko drive. And an arm save by Gibson. He was wide open in front. Now Gunnarsson a drive. And he put that one wide. Lehtera back on the goal.
Smart play by Gunnarsson. Had no chance at the net, John. Has to put it off to the side.
And the Ducks get the puck off the boards to center ice. Now picked up by Stoner. Bounces down. And then moved the other way by Shattenkirk. 3-on-2 into the zone. Shattenkirk. And a pass. Hit the skates of Clayton Stoner. Recovered by the Blues. Tarasenko. Now for Steen. And then Tarasenko. Trying to work off the wall. And the young Russian back to Jacklin. A shot. Tipped on goal by Lapierre. Rebound in front. Steen was in the right spot but couldn't get that second rebound attempt. And Cogliano now to center, and then ripped it in by Nate Thompson. Who's trying to catch the Ducks on a line change. Here is Ian Cole off the glass and in. And a turning Cam Fowler. Fans on it. Blues get it. Ryan Reeves shoots. He scores! Ryan Reeves! It's 2-0.
Ryan Reeves is on fire. Goal against the Blackhawks 2 games ago. Missed a great chance early in the first period, and now he gets his 13th career. Fowler fans on that one off the heel. Lapierre makes a good draw pass, and Ryan Reeves goes high under the bar like a goal scorer from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Holy jumping, what a snapshot that was.
His second goal in succession here at Scott Trade. After going 55 games without a goal, he has now scored twice in 3 games and gives the Blues a 2-0 lead. Lapierre will get the assist. Now the puck down low. Kessler trying to get away from Ian Cole. And is that a big goal for the Blues? And Jackson won't let Smith-Pelly get away from the corner. And the Ducks hold it in now. Smith-Pelly again back of the goal. And then getting back to break it up is Berglund. And now Schwartz away for the Blues. And Ian Cole will chip one to the corner. Again, the goal Reeves from Lapierre at 2:03. And this should be an icing call. And Darren, as you said earlier in the game, Reeves had a shot from about that exact spot and missed over the blocker.
Yeah, and now he's got a chance to go high to the glove side, but this play here, you can just keep your eye on this pass here by Fowler. It just goes off his heel, and then it's perfect placement after that. Reeves has got his stick on the ice, doesn't have to move. Good pass by Lapierre, easy play, high under the bar.
And off the face-off, the Ducks clear to center ice. So Ryan Reeves has made it 2-0 as he equals his goal total from a year ago. His career high was 4 goals set in 12-13 in that shortened season. Now Corey Perry comes in. Trying to flip it by Pietrangelo, he does, but then it rolls wide of the goal. And of course, they played together last year in the Canadian Olympic team. And then Bolesky, his shot, and a pad save there by Allen. Kept in by Stoner. Perry back on the goal. Worked over by Bouwmeester. And boy, have the Blues done a great job against Perry and Getzlaf in this game. Now Pietrangelo comes in. Everybody's covered. Throws it back on goal for Lapierre. He'll brush one along for Steen. Now to Reeves in front. Chops one, and that goes deep. And played by Buckton. He was hounded by Lapierre. What a play. Comes in front. Tipped. And kept in by Gunnarsson. Good read there. And then Reeves is tied up in knots by Buckton. They go down. And the puck is thrown all the way down. This should be an icing call against the Ducks.
Well, Max Lapierre's really got his game going. I mean, this might be a stretch to say, but my opinion is this has been his best game as a Blue. I mean, his best overall game. He's been given an assignment, and he likes that. Everybody likes that challenge of knowing that they're going to get out in the ice. He's done a real good job playing primarily against the Getzlaf line. Berglund comes out here for the second part of it, and Getzlaf's hemmed in on a defensive zone faceoff because of the icing.
Through 2 periods, Lapierre had 2 shots and had won 67% of the draws. Gunnarsson gets into Shattenkirk, a shot, and a pass saved there by Gibson. That may have been tipped by Porter in front. And another face-off win. And again, the Blues, Darren, are just schooling the Ducks, who are #1 in the league on the face-offs. And that's tipped along by Payarvi.
Are they ever? I mean, in the first period, Getzlaf was 80%, but then he dropped to the 46% after 2.
Now Berglund back on the line. Barrett Jackman, a shot. That's blocked by Stoner. Darren, in the first meeting, the Ducks won 62% of the draws.
It was a big topic of conversation after that disappointing 3-0 loss.
Now the Blues lead 2-0 goal from Steen and Reeves. Berglund knocks his man down. Puck comes around and held in by Fowler. And then Raquel in from the left side. Jackman back on the goal. Tim Jackman and Ducks can't center. Picked up by Barrett Jackman. And he has a lane out of the zone. Blues are changing. And Barrett Jackman did not know they were in the midst of a line change. And it comes right back to him. And now the change is complete off the boards to Laterra. And off the boards and in. Bogdan, he hands it right back to Laterra. He works in, trying to cut in front. Steen back on the goal with Tarasenko. And the Ducks take over. And here is Kessler to center ice. Punched back the other way by Leopold. And now Bogdan up the far side. That's tipped along by the veteran Danny Heatley, who is signed as a free agent. And Tarasenko, long pass. Walked in by Steen. Ducks back in. Steen, a shot on goal and a save by Gibson. As the Duck defense backed in a bit.
Well, we'll take our time now for our Jim Butler Chevrolet.com Powerhouse Plays by the powerful forward Ryan Reeves. More ice time, a little bit more flow in the game, especially on home ice where all head coaches have a little bit more matchups in line. But Ryan Reeves, Lapierre, awfully good in this game.
And a drive by Bouwmeester goes wide. Gibson never saw it. Yashkin back on the goal for Berglund. Now Berglund, who has played a strong game, to an open corner, grabbed by the captain Getzlaf.
And they needed Berglund to really step up his game too. A big responsibility in this game with the injuries to Backes, Stastny, Oshie, Lindstrom.
As we will see the Avalanche here on Saturday night. 7 o'clock face-off. We're on the air at 6:30 with Blues Live. 13:35 to go here in the third period. Schwartz knocked down back of the goal by Perry, but is picked up by Bouwmeester. On to center ice, intended for Yashkin, now picked up by Schwartz. 2 men back there. Schwartz heads to the side, now back to Yashkin, a drive, and Gibson just got his glove on that, and it just went over the net. And that was close. And Smith-Pelly off the boards to center ice. Pietrangelo, a good read. Steps back in the zone. And trying to make a play now on the cycle. Back of the goal for Yashkin. And he is slowed up by Getzlaf.
Now Hitchcock's going to throw off the Steen, Laterra, and Tarasenko line here.
And a penalty coming up here. And it might be on Yashkin, who was involved in that far corner.
Like a St. Louis penalty. 2 minutes for holding.
It is a hold.
Yashkin doesn't like the call, but leading 2-0. You can't take an offensive zone minor penalty. Here he definitely clearly releases his stick and grabs hold of the left shoulder and the left arm a couple of times. That's 200 feet away from your own net.
And the Ducks 0 for 1 tonight. Again, their power play 22% on the year. And burned the Blues for 2 goals in Anaheim. And now they call the referee over.
Yeah, they're checking the time, it looks like. It's at 12:56 on the clock right now.
And Justin St. Pierre gets the word that we're ready to go.
1 second was added to the clock.
And the faceoff won by Lapierre. He won it cleanly from Kessler.
2 minutes for holding. Time of the penalty, 7:04.
High stick on the Anaheim Ducks. Faceoff will be inside their own zone. So on the clear, Matt Bolesky's trying to talk to Paul Dvorsky, the veteran referee. But automatically that gets blown down, and the face-off back in the defensive zone of the team with the power play.
It's D-Bot out there along with Lapierre, Jackman, and Shattenkirk to kill it off. Corey Perrin leads the Ducks in the entire league with 4 power play goals, but he is not on the ice here. Now Raquel back of the goal for Bolesky. Broken up by Shattenkirk. And now Raquel gets it again for Anaheim. On the cycle, stolen. Shattenkirk can't get it over the head of Lindholm. And now Raquel's pass, blocked by Ott and kicked away.
Good effort by Ott there. Stick was tied up. He used his left foot.
And then gunned around by Fowler. Comes on the boards, and there's Ott in the right spot again and jams it down the ice. Blues trying to make a change. And the goaltender Gibson a long pass. Now Bolesky works in. He gets it in front, and a pass, and it went by Raquel.
He could have fired that.
Yes, he could have. Now Bolesky again. He was knocked down by Shattenkirk. The puck to the back. No one is there except Laterra. And Jori Laterra knocks it by Vatanen. And that will kill some more time. 50 left in the Yashkin minor.
It was a strong play by Bolesky, though. I mean, he made all the right moves. Just one extra pass.
Now Vatanen into Heatley. Heatley in the slot. Getzlab lost it. And a good clear there by Steen. So far, the Ducks have not had a shot on this power play. And Sammy Vatanen slowly to center ice. Now for Perry. And chopped down low by Heatley. Jay Bouwmeester back. And off the boards and over the boards. And where did it go out of play? That is the question.
There's going to be a discussion here with the officials.
I think it's going to be a delay of game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was clearly over. The puck was rolling. Just a matter of whether or not a Anaheim player got his stick on it.
St. Louis penalty, 2 minutes delay of game.
Delay of game minor now. For 20 seconds, there'll be a 5-on-3 against. See the puck just started fluttering? Yeah, it's clearly. The players on the bench likely heard the swat of the stick of Corey Perry on the shaft of the stick of the defenseman Jay Bouwmeester. But clearly, that just goes out on its own.
And Darren, as you said, the puck was spinning and rolling in a tough one for Bouwmeester to contain.
Well, there's no doubt. And, you know, you get late in a hockey game, the puck's going to roll a little bit. These defensemen, they're getting pressure on them, and their job is to get it off the glass and out of the zone. Sometimes that just sounds a little easier than what it actually is. But this becomes an enormous part of it. Obviously, Yashkin takes an offensive zone minor penalty. You know, you've got the game rolling. You're 5-on-5. You're playing it the way you want to play it. And now a 2-0 lead isn't so secure. This is a very, very important next 20 seconds. Get away from this 5-on-3.
The Blackhawks scored on a 5-on-3 goal. And the Blues victory last weekend. So a 5-on-3 for 20 seconds. Ott on the face-off against Getzlab. A huge draw. Getzlab wins it back. Now for Vatanen. Out high with Kessler. Vatanen fakes it to Getzlab. Back to Vatanen again. Here's Getzlab. Now goes back of the goal. And Heatley comes up with it. Heatley rolls it to Getzlab. 5 to go in the 5-on-3 in front. Oh, great save. Now another save on the rebound. And we get a whistle. 2 big saves by Jake Allen.
Oh, that's a beauty there. Oh, did he just fire out the 9 of hearts. What a play that was. These are the big moments in a hockey game. But you can see right here, the Blues were looking for this here. That's Danny Heatley far inside the face-off dot. but it was one and he had no effect on it anyway. But just after that, the first save there, the second one right there, it's a beauty on Perry, the hottest goal scorer in the NHL. You can see the redirection, deflection by Allen, and then the left leg pad. That was kind of old school right there, kicking out the left pad in the glove.
And the first one was actually tipped by Allen and off the neck of Danny Heatley. But what a save on the rebound. And now the Blues get one man back. And the faceoff won by Laterra for Pietrangelo.
You getting tired of saying that? Faceoff won by Laterra.
It's becoming routine. This year in the NHL, road teams on 5-on-3 power plays are only 3 for 14. Now 3 for 15. Here's Kessler drive and a pad save by Allen and fired away by Pietrangelo.
Well, we saw Brian Elliott in the game in Dallas really good with his stick, blocking a lot of passes through the paint. And Allen's been doing the same thing. Maybe not as much as that game in Dallas, but he's been good with it.
And Pietrangelo, a Savardian spinorama there, and he fires it down the ice. With 55 to go in Bouwmeester's minor. And 10-10 left, third period. And Vatanen to pass to center. Tipped by Getzlaf, but turned back the other way by Shattenkirk.
Well, Vatanen's the guy that carries the puck up the ice, and he's looking towards the boards, and then Perry cuts through the middle on this breakout, and he usually gets it to him.
And now we get a whistle.
Too many men on the ice.
Yeah, they point to the Duck bench.
By a whole bunch. I mean, it was very obvious, John. It was a good 10 seconds.
On the ice.
15 seconds of too many men on the ice.
And head coach Bruce Boudreau, quite obviously, is not pleased with that on a power play.
Oh, I guess not. That's a mental error right there.
So now we'll go 4-on-4 for 35 seconds, and then the Blues will get a power play. Blues goals tonight from Steen back in the first period, and an early third period goal from Ryan Reeves. Laterra's up front with Tarasenko. And Laterra wins another one. Gunnarsson, a drive and a save by Gibson. And now Tarasenko back for Shatner. And his pass blocked. It hit Thompson, comes to center ice.
That was good communication, though, by Gunnarsson. He was the one gave Shattenkirk just a little bit of yell there, let him know he was open for that little outlet pass.
And then Tarasenko trying to work out of the zone. Knocked a man down. Gunnarsson back to get it. And the Blues slow the pace. Bouwmeester due back in 5 seconds.
Gunnarsson told me this morning that he really appreciated and enjoyed playing with Jackman in the game in Dallas. And Gunnarsson's first game, he said Jackman's communication was just exceptional in that game.
Blues on the power play, 0 for 2 tonight. Pass back for Pietrangelo. Trying to hit Schwartz, that was too hot to handle. And comes back to the line, now Pietrangelo. Nice pass for Shattenkirk, who's been dancing all night, really on his toes. Steen gets it in front, Tarasenko, that shot blocked, Steen with it, and that's blocked in front by Smith-Pelly.
Well, he's blocked a bunch of them in this game.
And then Tarasenko drops it off, Shattenkirk, across, Pietrangelo drive, and a save by Gibson, but a great stick by Pietrangelo to hold it in. Into Shattenkirk, 40 left in the power play. And that centering feed was up in the air. Steen could not knock it down, and Cogliano clears it.
He needed a lacrosse stick for that Tarasenko pass.
Yes, he did.
They're going to both come for a change right now and have a little conversation, I think.
Blues led to center by Pietrangelo. On the dump in, Bouwmeester in there quickly. Along with Lapierre. And corner. And now Edom gets it for the Ducks. And he'll charge into the blue zone. Chased by Payarvi. Oh, Payarvi lost an edge there, but it goes back on the goal. And the young Swede gets it back for the Blues as Perry is set to return.
Well, that's good pursuit of the puck there by Payarvi. He's got good wheels, and he's going up against the guy in Edom that's a really good skater.
The Blues one shot on that power play, but now 0 for 3. And the Ducks pick their way to center ice. Here's Bolesky at the line. And he was checked by Steen, who hands it back to Cole. Ian Cole on defense here with Jackman. Again, the Blues going with 7 defensemen tonight with all the injuries and illness. Laterra takes a hit. Puck goes back to the goal. And snared by Bolesky. On to center ice for Perry. Here's Ian Cole. And a pass to Jackman. Nice exit by the Blues. And Schwartz up the ice. He delays. Now to Tarasenko and a shot. Hits him skating the way through.
This is the line that started the season together with everyone healthy. Schwartz, Lehtera, and Tarasenko.
Here's Perry trying to spin move. And he was knocked off balance by Pietrangelo. And his pass was intended for Schwartz. That goes 200 feet down the ice. And we get an icing call. Well, looking for something to do with the family? Come down to Scott Trade this Saturday where the Blues take on the Avalanche for McDonald's Family Night. You can get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 2 popcorns plus 4 Big Mac coupons, all for $99. For tickets, go to stlouisblues.com/tickets. Avalanche in town for the first time. Blues win the draw. Berglund to center ice. And chopped in by Tarasenko. With 6:30 left in regulation time. Blues looking to win their 3rd in a row. Now Fowler for Vatanen. And that goes in behind the goal. Allen puts it on the glass. And that's cut out by Thompson. And then Edom works against Shattenkirk. The Blues, they've had good coverage in their own zone all night. Now Thompson gets free back of the goal. Edom's in front. Pass tipped away by a stick. Comes around. Schwartz there. Here he comes with Ryan Reeves. 2-on-1 now. Schwartz comes in. Rebound. Oh, Reeves had a good chance. Couldn't get it on goal. Lapierre off the bench. He waits. And drops it back to Shattenkirk. Walks the line. Nice pass to Schwartz. He waits. Then a shot. And it goes wide. The Blues have had some good looks in the last couple of minutes, and the Ducks shoot it down for the icing violation.
Oh, Lapierre and Reeves are really connected, really playing some real good hockey here, both ends of the ice. Schwartz cuts back there on a really good attempt, and then you can see 75 Reeves got his stick ready, shot off the pad, the rebound's there. Oh boy, did Cam Fowler ever do an excellent job there on the backhand to clear that away. Feeling the heat of big Ryan Reeves on his backside.
Ryan Reeves has had 3 scoring chances and a goal. Blues win the faceoff. Ott pounds it back of the goal for Payarvi. And then Lapierre for Cole. Chip back to the cage again. And Payarvi on the cycle now for Ott. And then brushed along by Lapierre. To an open corner. Lapierre hounds the puck. As you said, Darren, he has played a heck of a game. Now for Ott, deep slot. Back to Jackman to drive, and Gibson got a piece of that. Held in by a good stick by Ian Cole. And Magnus Payarvi again.
Well, this line's always had a 3rd man out high, too, which has been the key.
Now across to Jackman.
And that's where Ott is right now.
And then Ott throws one to the end boards for Lapierre. On the wraparound, comes right in front. And the Ducks tip it in the air, bounces at the line, and now it does come to center ice. And Payarvi says, I'm going right back in. Here he comes. Blues are changing, and now Ott to Lapierre for Payarvi. And a shot off the blocker of the goaltender. And then Pietrangelo deals it back of the goal for Ott. Ott trying to shake away from his man. And finally broken up by the Ducks. What a shift there.
Terrific shift. I mean, it starts with puck placement, support down low, and again, you hate to reiterate it, but it's a common thing. You got to have a 3rd man high in the offensive zone, both as an outlet and in a defensive positioning. And Ott was that outlet. He's the guy that Ken Hitchcock's talked an awful lot about, that having that player in the hub of the wheel in the middle of the ice to be an outlet. In the meantime, it's time now for our Mazda drive to the net. Well, we could take a number of Lehtera situations, but we're going to move that along to this one here. Gunnarsson shot. You got to drive to the net, and that's where Steen is. It goes off his left hip, past the glove side, and a very important first goal. Not just a first goal, John, a goal against the Anaheim Ducks.
Lehtera, 75% tonight against Kessler. And he wins another one.
He doesn't stop. Like, even if it's a loose puck, he's so well balanced and strong on his skates that he ends up getting it back.
And here he comes in with Tarasenko, 2-on-1. Oh. And a play broken up
Lindholm. What a play.
What a play there by Hampus Lindholm on that 2-on-1. 3:45 to go. Blues leading 2-0. Centering feed broken up by Shattenkirk. And he rings it off the boards to center ice. And now Getzlaf storms right back in the zone. To the backhand. Now to the forehand. Now to the front. Bolesky lost it. Picked up by Fowler. Hit pass. Hit escape. And it goes to the corner.
Yeah, Gunnarsson just dragged his right pad. Good defensive play there by Carl Gunnarsson.
And then Shattenkirk a feet ahead. Jaden Schwartz trying to work it out. Ducks hold it in though. And now Perry off the bench. Here he comes. He's forced wide. And he can't get the wrapper on a pass. Comes right in front. In the goal crease area, knocked away. Pressure by the Ducks. Stoner a drive. On goal and a save by Allen. And now we get a skirmish right in front of Jake Allen. He has had all the answers tonight. Blues have outshot the Ducks 29-21 and lead 2-0.
Welcome back to Scott Trade alongside John Kelly. Darren Pang down here between the benches. And our Nissan check of the game. Two options right here for Laterra. He knows that could be an option or that could be an option. And you watch the stick position of Laterra as we see our Nissan check of the game. It's a stick check. They don't always have to be the big physical plays being made in a game. That's just hockey intelligence right there by Laterra. Makes the drop pass and a just missed attempt by his buddy Vladdy Tarasenko because of a great defensive position play.
3:01 to go. Blues goals from Steen and Reeves. Blues have won 58% of the draws. And they get another one out of the zone. And Hampus Lindholm at his own line for Vatanen, now moved along by Smith Pelly. Comes in front, and that's covered by Allen.
Well, with that easy save there by goaltender Jake Allen, who's been strong. Our Plaza Tire Service shot comparison. I've been on Twitter between periods, John Kelly, and someone came up with Laterra Steenko.
Darren, they pulled the goaltender here with 2:48 to go.
Well, that sees 13 total shots there by the Laterra Steenko line.
So a 2-0 lead for the Blues, and the Ducks with 6 attackers. And Jake Allen can shoot the puck pretty well, in case you're wondering. You never know. Lapierre against Kessler. Draw one by Lapierre. Funneled around by Bouwmeester. Otten blew a tire there. And now the Ducks have it. Kessler in traffic. And Lapierre works it off the boards and out. And now Lapierre knocks it down at center. And he just dumps it in behind the Anaheim net. With 2.5 to play here. Now it comes around for Ryan Getzlaf. Trying to find some open ice. Delonte Smith-Pelly dumps it in. Missouri Lottery Blues Live is coming up next. And Kessler sets up in the corner. Now for Getzlaf. Pass back for Vatanen. To Lindholm, back to Vatanen. And a shot. Didn't get through. I think Bouwmeester blocked it. Now Kessler with it. That shot on goal. And it's saved up behind him. And it was kept out of there, I think, by Lapierre. And the Ducks again. It was right on the goal line, and it was kept out, I think, by Lapierre. And the Blues trying to move it away. Oh, Pietrangelo lost it. And Bouwmeester only played with a broken stick. He got away with it. His blade was off there, and he swatted the puck. Vatanen a drive. Tipped. And that's why. Bouwmeester does not have a stick. Empty net for Pietrangelo. And he'll shoot it wide. And a whistle and an icing call. Let's see how close this came.
Well, the shot by Kessler, and it goes through the legs now, lies on the goal line. Look at Lapierre there. It stops. It never crosses the goal line completely. In fact, it was stopped. It was at a stop motion, in fact. But Lapierre has really played a strong game. This is just an example here, and a little good fortune being in the right spot. But make no mistake, Corey Perry's right there on the doorstep, ready to poke that if Lapierre's not there, because their goaltender, Jake Allen, isn't quite sure where it is.
Tonight on Fox Sports Live, full coverage of LeBron's return to Cleveland, highlights from around the NHL and NBA, plus analysis from Hall of Famer Gary Payton, and instant reaction from Saints-Panthers with Donovan McNabb and Jay Glazer tonight on Fox Sports Live. Darren, well, while I was reading that promo, wasn't it Lapierre last year in overtime that saved the goal on an open net?
Title
in game 1?
That's right. You are right. So maybe the boys in the studio at Fox Sports 1 will figure, could that be the one, John Kelly?
If memory serves me correctly, that was what happened in game 1. And he might have saved the goal there. If a Duck player gets there, it's obviously an easy tap-in. 90 seconds left. And Gibson remains off. Kessler will take the face-off. Up front with Perry, Smith-Pelly. Also, Lindholm, Vatanen, and Getzlaf back on the point. Lapierre digs in against Kessler. And it was dropped unfairly.
You know, the one thing with the rules there, Lapierre is trying to get leverage by going down and going across his body by turning his hand over, but he can't go down on his knees and play it with his hand.
Lapierre 78% in the circle and wins another one. And the puck in the corner comes up the board for Schwartz. Can't get it by Vatanen. And they swat away and it bounces to center ice. 6 attackers here for the Ducks. They pounded back in. And Pietrangelo. He'll take another shot at the empty net. And this skips wide. And an icing call.
Oh boy, the Blues don't like that because there was no effort going back for the puck at all. Not one bit. But it's enough to get over there in the hybrid icing and another face-off.
And both clubs have used their timeout. And Lapierre will try again, this time against Getzlaf.
Yeah, if it's on the other side of the ice, then Laterra would take the draw.
But Lapierre has been superb tonight with 65 seconds left.
Of course, Laterra can't because it was an icing call and never got on the ice. Not allowed to change the 5 players. Oh, little conversation here. See, the Blues bench has been saying that pretty much all game long about the Ducks getting just inside, encroaching inside the dot.
And they kick the puck back to Perry, a shot, and that's blocked and it goes out of play. And now the Blues can make a change.
Goal line stand, and Lapierre's maxed out in this game, John. He gets right down there for leverage. Actually misses the first time, but then stays with it on Getzlaf.
And now Laterra gets Getzlaf. And Laterra wins it cleanly. I mean cleanly. For Jackman up the wing. Not out of the zone. And now Corey Perry comes in to get the puck. Trying to center one. Blocked by Steen. Now Steen with it in the corner. Jackman has a man tied up, and he might get a holding penalty.
They got Tim Jackman on the ice as the 6th attacker. Jackman is the man that's responsible for going in front of the net, but boy, Jackman on the left-hand side. So Jackman actually initiates the hit. That's Tim Jackman. And then Barrett Jackman must have grabbed him at the last second because the referee in the middle of the ice calls it. Paul Dvorsky.
After he says, I was held in the corner. And now it's a 6-on-4 power play advantage with 49 seconds left. And Ott against Kessler. Ott wins another face-off. Goalkeeper for Pietrangelo. He was knocked down. And he's upset. Ducks center it. Back to Getzlaf. And a right pass saved by Allen. And Lapierre, the Blues can now fire it down the ice and have no fear of an icing violation.
Jake Allen read that beautifully, didn't he? Came out and cut down the angle.
Now Vatanen, he comes in. What a move. And on goal. And it goes wide. Now Tim Jackman gets it. In the corner. Here's Perry. Can't get by Bouwmeester. Then a shot blocked. Now Kessler to Vatanen. A drive. That goes up high. Perry back of the goal. Now centered again. Vatanen steps in. Vatanen shot. Right pass saved by Allen. And cleared by Lapierre. That's going to do it. Jake Allen will get his second career shutout. In a 2-0 win.
That's a gutsy effort by Jake Allen and the Blues. Boy, they got some great performances, John Kelly. The amount of injuries, sickness going on, a depleted group, dressing 17, 11 forwards, and a gem by Jake Allen in net.